as Donald Trump secures his presidential election victory to become the 47th President of the United States of America in a historic, surprising, yet much needed landslide red wave win, and Kamala Harris giving her concession speech, with the Democrats giving zero pushback, crying about rigged elections. One can only imagine what could they be possibly up to now. I'm MrShowTym and you're watching the Showcast. Welcome back to the MrShowTym Showcast. Before we continue further, please join me in a commemoration of Armistice Day. Here in South Africa, we call it Armistice Day. Americans call it Happy Veterans Day. Please join me in a moment of silence in acknowledging, paying homage and respects to our fallen soldiers, the brave men of our first world countries who sacrificed and gave their lives to protect their countries. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you so much. Men, our lives are we are the sacrificial gender. Our lives are very expendable, okay? And due to this whole female worshipping, female power, women empowerment, soft generation era we live in, men need to be, appreciated because we are the sacrificial gender. We lay down our lives, risking life and limb for a better future for our loved ones, our wives, women, and children, right? So folks, the bureaucrats have seemingly faded away into the darkness from whence they came, with Kamala Harris giving her concession speech, her just like walking away with her, was it Tim Walz, or her first bitch of the almost first bitch of the United States of America, her husband, Douglas Emhoff. We just dodged a monumental bullet. Trump's face belongs or deserves to be on Mount Rushmore, to be truly honest, because that man has been through a lot. It is a historic moment indeed. He's been through a lot. The assassinations and whatnot, and I don't mean to cut our celebrations short, as we, the Redpill, we have contributed greatly to the success, Donald Trump's election win. Because I think we've come to a point where now the mainstream media has lost its monopoly on your NPC brains, and it's thanks to us, the Red Pill Manosphere community. We have been just dropping doses on new NPCs. Okay, we have red pilled a lot of you. You know, we're like Oprah when she's giving out hampers and gifts to our audience. You're getting red pill, you're getting red pill, red pill, red pill, red pill, red pill, red pill, red pill. Everybody's getting red pilled, right? So yeah, man, it's so real. Something I never thought would be possible. I guess the mainstream, sorry, the red pill going mainstream, thanks to Kevin Samuels and, you know, as of most recent, Andrew Tate. Some have said that this is not what we planned. This is not what we wanted. This is not how the red pill is supposed to, you know, the direction that the red pill is supposed to go. But you know, I half agree. But at the same time, aren't you glad it happened? Because, you know, most people are now red pilled than ever. Most people, because of the red pill community, we have made politics that much interesting. We have made politics cool. We have made reading into politics and taking doses of the red pill, you know, the new thing. Although, you know, yes, some have taken red pill talking points, have made it a grift just purely out of money, not because of they are down with the cause, but, you know, just purely grifting. I don't think that's the worst thing ever, because, you know, the more they push our messages out there, the better. It shows that our work has paid dividends. And obviously, the more people who are red pilled, the better. The better decisions they make in terms of voting, the better decisions they take in terms of, you know, the choices they make in their lives. Yeah, and a lot of people have paid us respect, talking about, oh, we've changed their lives for the better. And yeah, isn't that what we want? I say the red pill going mainstream has turned out for the better. Not completely, because yeah, some of us channels have been censored and shadow banned, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. I think it all worked out for the better in the end. Coming back to now, diving into today's topic, the bureaucrats. Do you honestly think that the Democrats are just gonna allow the humiliation to ensue further? Do you honestly think that, as sadistic and as sinister they are, and as cynical as they are, they're just gonna allow this to happen? They're just gonna forgive what happened? I don't think so. Do you think they're just gonna allow the so-called peaceful transition of power to take place? Past trends determine future events. Back in 2016, when Hillary Clinton lost her race to the Oval Office, the White House, against Donald Trump, I mean, she is still salty about it till this day. And I remember in 2020, when they were busy, you know, ensuing election fraud, stealing the elections, I remember an article came out talking about how she was telling the Biden administration, do not concede, as the vote count continued past the election day, past election night. It took like a week, if not more. And you telling me this time, now that Kamala Harris gave her concession speech because she lost in a red wave blowout, a landslide loss against Donald Trump. Yes, she gave her concession speech, she conceded. But come on, it's too good to be true. As we are in our celebratory period, they've seemingly just like, they're quiet. They're quiet. What, do you think those 34 felony convictions that they threw at Donald Trump, they're just going to disappear? Now, yes, there are some articles that came out and say, yeah, there's a possibility that Trump is no longer gonna be serve jail time of his convictions. No, unlikely, because I've seen other articles come out talking about, yeah, there's a you know the sentencing is gonna come about somewhere around 26th of November, which means that they haven't given in, they haven't forgiven anything. They are still just as vengeful as we expected. They're not going to give up power. They're not going to allow for a peaceful transition to occur. Now that they know that Trump is going to go after them, and I hate the phrasing because they say that, Trump is going to weaponize the DOJ to go after his enemies. Oh, he's a tyrant. No, it's not going after your political opponents if it's justice. I mean, that's what they've been doing to him. They tried to throw him away for like 700 years. Of course, it's gonna clean up that's him draining the swamp, and he better, for not only for our sake but for his sake as well. So you're damn straight is gonna go after the people that wrongfully prosecuted him to clean up the mess, drain the swamp, and rightfully so. I want to see it. It must happen. It has to happen. But folks, they're not gonna. I hate to cut our celebrations short again. I can't stress this enough. We need to, yes, continue celebrating, but we're not quite out of the woods yet. This is the race to the inauguration, when Donald Trump is officially sworn in as the next president of the United States of America. Because think of it like this: Trump crossed the finish line, but still Trump has to walk over to the podium, have his medal prize giving ceremony, the medal ceremony, where he actually has to, gets to shake hands with the prize givers, and they get to knight him, reward him with the medal in the form of being sworn in as the next president. And during that time, a lot can happen. There's roughly, let's say, 70 or 69 days left, depending on when this video was posted. But there's roughly like 70 days until the inauguration day. And a lot can happen from now to then. I want you to pay attention how Donald Trump is surrounded by former never Trumpers. I'm talking about Ben Shapiro, who wasn't a Trump supporter back in 2016. J.D. Vance, who came out of nowhere, who himself, he used to talk about how he called Trump, Hitler himself, and now he's the vice president. And now he's supported by Tucker Carlson, who, remember, during 2020, he had a back and forth, a falling out with, remember Sidney Powell? Oh yes, the lady who promised us she was gonna release the Kraken, and we never saw it, and she just disappeared. I wonder what happened to her. Okay. You can argue that she was subpoenaed and indicted with other charges with regards to the challenging the elections of back in 2020, right? Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, Robert F. Kennedy. These are former opponents Trump is just seemingly surrounded by. Don't you find that rather suspicious? Now, I know you might talk about how it's better the enemy you know than the enemy you don't know. Fine. But two things can be true at once. I suspect that Trump is, folks, understand something about the Matrix. They don't allow you to win if they really deem you as a threat. To really reset the Matrix, they don't allow you to win. If they thought that, they couldn't control Trump and they don't have any leverage over Trump in some shape, whatever shape or form, whatever it could be, do you really think that they could allow them to win? Nobody, no president is 100% free to just do whatever, even if it's for the greater good. Trump is controlled opposition to a degree. And Nick Fuentes made an assertion, I think that is worth listening to. The Trump administration, Trump's team, the people that are now surrounding Trump, are becoming a little bit less radical. Because Nick Fuentes said that, look, back in 2016, Trump was radical. Okay? We're like, build America great again, make America great again, and, we're pro-nationalism. Now, unfortunately, today, according to a lot of the NPCs, okay, nationalism has a negative connotation to it with regards to, it is linked to Adolf Hitler, white supremacy and whatnot in a negative sense. But most countries, yes, you should be a nationalist. Being a nationalist means that you're proud of your country, you put the concerns of your country first. I'm a proud South African. There's a reason why I put that flag up there. And this is more like an alternative version, a design that I came up with. Okay, it consists of the Southern Cross star system, and it has 9 Commonwealth stars, that represents our 9 provinces. Okay, it's a little spin, it's a little creative design that I came up with myself, because innovation, inspiration, love for your country, because I have desires for my country to be a global superpower. Now, I know some of you watching, you might be laughing behind your screen that you're just an African country. Look into South Africa, you goofball. Do your research about South Africa. If South Africa had aspirations to be a global superpower, we would come very close to the United States of America. Our country is very capable, believe it or not. And I'm not going to allow you just to stereotype us just because we're in Africa, we're an African country, and you thinking that we're not capable of anything monumental. Try us, we'll surprise you. We have the likes of Elon Musk, for example. Yes, Twitter is South African. The richest man in the world is a South African. So don't play with us, okay? And part of the reason is the reason why South Africa hasn't flourished fully to its fullest potential is because we tend to sell ourselves short. And not only do we sell ourselves short, we allow other people, other countries to sell ourselves short. There's a saying that goes like this: if you don't tell your stories, other people will tell it for you. And I think it's about time that South Africans told their stories from their own mouths, which is part of what I'm doing. I'm not overselling us, even though that's not the worst thing ever, but I'm just trying to put South Africa on the map. Okay? The most viral videos, the most iconic public figures are American. Michael Jackson, recently you have Donald Trump, the works. The list goes on and on. Elvis Presley, the list goes on and on and on. The most iconic and most popular music is American music. Chris Brown, Luther Vandross, Barry White, okay, Nicki Minaj, Lil Wayne, EDM, Tomorrowland, right? And I think South Africa has to have higher standards for itself and inspire each other to reach our full potential in whatever endeavor. Now, coming back to what Nick Fuentes said, being a nationalist has negative connotation, and that's part of the reason why the the people that run everything, the world, from Israel, are able to have a strong hold on American politicians. America being a global superpower, Israel has a strong hold on American government officials. Jeffrey Epstein, anyone? Yeah, that's why Jeffrey Epstein, he was uh, uh, pursuing his mission to like have some dirt on American politicians so that America can do all of Israel's dirty work. Hence, September 9/11, right? That's why it happened. And the war in Afghanistan, so forth and so forth. America has that. That's part of the reason, that a huge part of the big part of the reason why Israel has favor is favored by America. Their allegiance. So these Agent Smiths, okay, the some people call them the small hat people. I like to call them the Agent Smiths because they have a particular uniform, right? The Jews, the rabbi shmoolies of the world. They wear like this black attire, and they serve as the agents of this matrix, the Agent Smiths of this matrix. So such people, they can only infiltrate America if America is not a fully proud nation that puts America first. Because if they put America first, then that means they can't enter and infiltrate. So they have to spin the narrative that America is a racist country and whatnot. Especially, it works well with black people, black Americans, because they have an unfortunate history in the founding of the country. So they capitalize using that. Okay? Hence the narrative, nationalism has such a negative connotation. Because if Americans aren't proud of their country, not to the point where they should be, that's how now they're able to, the Agent Smiths, they're able to come in and run the show. Whereas if America is a country of proud nationalists and they put America first, they can't just come in. The immigration laws would be far more stricter. And it will be that much harder for them, for the Ben Shapiros, to come in America and make a name for themselves and sort of like blend in under the guise of conservatism. And that's something that is much needed in America. Just because Ben Shapiro he's a tradcon, he's a traditional conservative with his show over the Daily Wire that is owned by a Jewish CEO or owner. What's his name? Dennis Prager? If it's not Dennis Prager, it's some other Agent Smith of Ben Shapiro, which explains perfectly well why Candace Owens was fired from the Daily Wire when she started not only critiquing Israel, but she really started to push the right buttons. And Ben Shapiro was like, oh, hell no. Okay? So Ben Shapiro may claim that, hey, listen, we have a wide variety of opinions when it comes to Israel and the Jewish community. Yeah, opinions that don't really hit on the sensitive points, the real talking points. And that's part of the reason why Nick Fuentes was banned from APAC, CPAC. The Charlie Kirks, they don't want to associate with him. That's why Nick Fuentes had his falling off with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Because Nick Fuentes talked about the right things, and they were like, since, APAC is ran by, the Jewish intelligence agency, okay? It all makes perfect sense. It all comes full circle if you really start to pay attention. So, nationalism. I did a video on the truth about nationalism, and you can find it right here. That's all that clears the air on this whole schizophrenia when it comes to nationalism. Oh, Hitler. Well, look, I don't agree with Hitler's tactics. I don't agree with what he did to 6 million Jews. But understand, nobody is 100% innocent. Nobody is 100% guilty. There's a reason why Hitler did what he did. And it's because he was a proud German nationalist. Okay? So, just bear that in mind. So, look, when it comes to nationalism, America that is run by whites does not look the same, which America is a white majority country. And, yes, Black Americans in slavery had a hand in establishing the railroad system and the cotton industry in the founding of America, hence why it became a superpower it is today. An America that is ran by majority whites looks exactly how it is today. At least I'm talking about its initial setup. It becoming a global superpower. America does not look the same if it is gentrified by non-white ethnic groups. Which is why Nick Fuentes, he made the assertion that, look, J.D. Vance is not the best type of candidate who should be in the Trump team because he married an Indian woman, because by his own mouth, according to J.D. Vance, he hates his own culture, his own white culture. And that's how he was able to they installed J.D. Vance to be part of the Trump team administration. He's vice president. You have your Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, look, according to their merits, Vivek Ramaswamy is exquisite. He's phenomenal. But if America is allowing, more and more of these non-white groups, it opens Pandora's box into the right becoming no different than what the left is. Too, diverse, too exclusive, too diversically exclusive, and it loses fundamental aspects of what made America great in the first place. So, yeah, that's something to think about.
On discussions at the Pentagon, I don't know at what level this is. It just seems like it's informal discussions. I guess it's understandable they would have those discussions. It also, Scott, is it?
Look, I don't like this because what's Donald Trump supposed to think? He's sitting down there, he's the president-elect, and now he's got to read in the newspaper tonight that the unelected bureaucracy of the federal government is having meetings at some level about how to thwart or countermand the commander-in-chief. I don't care if it's at the Pentagon or at the HUD or Ag Department. It doesn't matter. The unelected bureaucracy of this government answers to the civilian and duly elected leadership that we just did. And what if you were in his shoes and you just won the popular vote with a clear mandate, and now you got to read that these unelected bureaucrats are plotting against you? What would you think? If they have problems, let me finish. If they have problems, they should not have meetings that then leak to the press. If they have ideas or things, they should call the president's office and say, hey, we'd like to have some discussions for planning purposes. But secret meetings that leak, terrible way to get off to a start with the new administration.
Well, I agree that that's maybe not the best way to do it. However, Trump has set them up to be in this situation where they think that he's coming after them.
And I'm of the opinion, well, not just the opinion, but the realization that America and, of course, South Africa is better off ran by white people. Because, again, white people run things a certain way. Asian countries are what they are now, and they look like how they are now constitutionally, in terms of the laws, and the overall setup is how it is because it's ran by Asians. Indian and Muslim country, we all know that Muslims, they go off of Sharia law. Okay, the constitution in the government is set up mostly inspired by their religion, Islam. Okay, so would you like to live in a Muslim constitution country. But in America, I'm pretty sure you don't. Because if you're an American, you want a country that is American. If you're in South Africa, you want a country that is, first world, built by the British and the so-called Boers, the Afrikaans. And we all love it this way because whites built it from the ground up. Now, if it is run by Chinese people, South Africa doesn't look the same. So, this is another realization. The Jews don't identify themselves as being white. Not really. The Jews don't identify as being white. Why? Because religiously they see themselves as somewhat superior to whites and basically everyone else, the Gentiles. Which is why they don't identify with whites, even though they themselves are whites. The Benjamin Netanyahus of the world, those are Caucasian Jews. They're not the original Jews, but that's a story for another day. But Trump is not safe. Like again, I said, Trump has been surrounded by former opposition, and in a sense, that makes him controlled opposition. Because the superpowers, the Asian Smiths, have no problem letting him win the presidency. So in other words, they just let one ship sink, the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris, the Obamas, they were willing to let them sink. Seemingly what now has happened is now they've jumped over to the GOP side. They have latched onto the Trump administration. And that's how Trump was able to win the presidency. That's why they have no problem making Kamala Harris just concede. Concede. We'll fulfill our agendas no longer with the Democratic Party, but under the Trump administration. Think about that. I hope that's not the case, but that is something to somewhat consider and just keep in mind. Trump appointed the first female chief of staff that goes by the name of Susie Milner, I think her name is. Feminism, woman power, all those traits of the Democrats may have jumped ship to, the Trump administration. See, that's one thing that could potentially blow your mind. How's that for a red pill realization? We're going to take a quick ad break and just appreciate what we have dodged. Well, at least I hope we've dodged. Now that Trump has won. But if we're not careful, it could still happen regardless. I mean, this reminds me of the John Wick Chapter 4 scene where John Wick was trying to make his way up the stairs before time runs out, and he was being stopped by the antagonist, his henchman. He was trying to stop him from reaching the rooftop. And guess what happened to John Wick in the end? He had his duel, he won. But John Wick also died in the end. He died. And The Simpsons, I've said this before, The Simpsons, they do not predict anything. The Simpsons, these depictions, such as this one, of Trump laying in a casket, that's not a prediction. These are plans. Okay? These are plans. Trump is not as free as you think. These are plans. They planned for this to happen. Kamala Harris, her wearing that purple suit or blouse with the white pearls around her neck, that was planned. Okay? But, of course, I'm going to go Manosphere for a while. But first, enjoy this ad. Police reports by Dan Bongio and Dinesh D'Souza. Police state.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Chief Division Counsel and DOJ have approved a no-knock breach. We want the subject to be on display, doing the walk of shame, full visual impact. Any questions?
Are we becoming a police state?
The government told American citizens they couldn't go to church on Sunday.
I've never seen anything like it. It may be the Russia other people grew up in, but not my America.
FBI warrant, come to the door now!
There's a heavy banging at my door. Open up! There's 15 marked units on my property. I got SWAT in the back of my house.
They took a battering ram to my door.
6 a.m., I hear boom, 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 and hear about 6 to 8 military-style soldiers, with the tallest one of them pointing an automatic rifle at my head. FBI, we have an arrest warrant!
Shock you out of sleep, drag you out of your house half clothed, refuse to give you a warrant, ransack your house.
Now I'm facing 15 years in federal prison
for doing nothing other than exercising my right to free speech.
I had no reason to be attacked.
I hope that you remember Matt's name and the role you played in killing him.
How did we give the state this kind of power?
9/11 changed everything.
We're going to expand the Bureau from law enforcement to domestic intelligence. Legal shackles are now off.
It used to be Islamic terrorism. That threat has kind of dissipated.
Our focus is shifting.
They're moving to domestic extremism. It really paints anybody who's right of center.
What we need is a person to look at. And then we go find out what crime you did.
If you're a pro-life, pro-family Catholic, they define you as radical.
The demand for domestic terrorism vastly outstrips the supply. When candidate Trump came down the escalators, the government had a meltdown.
We are going to drain the swamp. We'll see about that.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
The Patriot Act and FISA were used against Donald Trump.
Google literally rewrote their news algorithm based upon what Trump was doing so that they could get this guy.
You just take out the word Russiagate and you put in COVID origins. You take out COVID origins and you put in Hunter Biden's laptop. You take that out and you put in January 6th. It's the replicated play from the deep state and their partners in the media.
They're not just deplatforming you. They are trying to throw people in prison.
If they're coming for me, they're coming for you.
Hands on your head! These are anti-government.
We have freedom of religion and freedom of speech!
Violent extremists, and they must be dealt with. We can do anything we want.
Police State. Exclusively in theaters October 23rd and 25th. Tickets sold only on policestatefilm.net.
We have the enemy off balance. We have the initiative. Now it's time to finish him.
We now take you live to the Central Texas Command Center in the heart of the resistance. You're listening to Alex Jones.
Finally, we've got America waking up, and finally, we've got more than a chance to beat the enemies that have seized our nation. We are very close to massive victory. We have won giant, historic, strategic battles, culturally, politically, economically, spiritually. But now the real war kicks into high gear. In this time, people are not naive like they were in the past. Now they know what they're facing, and America is rising to the challenge. I salute you. We are an American band of patriots. American man.
All right, so welcome back from the little ad break. I'm gonna go Manosphere now. I'm gonna go Manosphere. We have to win the cultural war. Okay. Kamala Harris was I saw this on Twitter. Okay. Kakamala. Okay. Over on Twitter, reverting back to a natural state as a woman. Okay. Watching the kids, she's at home watching the children, drinking, because I've always suspected she was a junkie. No surprise, but she's at home with the kids, being a mother figure, even though she's technically not a mother, a biological mother, but she's fulfilling her role as a mother, nurturing Douglas Emhoff's kids. Reverting back to a role. So to all you feminists out there who viewed Kamala Harris as, your next big leader, yeah, how about following her lead now? No, women do not belong in the workplace. You belong in the kitchen, at home, fulfilling your roles and your purpose of being a mother. Mothering. So yeah, folks, we have got to win the cultural war. We have got to make men masculine again. We have got to make women feminine again. I think our next mission is to sort of like inspire these powerful organizations, right? Companies, Fortune 500 companies, to stand by those who expunge these messages, these red pills. So instead of canceling us, instead of censoring us, it should be okay for an employee to say, to spew these so-called misogynist, not really misogynist, but these deemed misogynist talking points all over the social media. Okay? Say it. Women are the weaker sex. Women belong in the kitchen. Men are to be outside slaying the dragons. Say that. Post that on your Twitter, on your Facebook. And you should be totally free from getting and not to be fired for saying that. And those would be the signs, that clearly illustrates that we're winning the cultural war. You should be totally fine to make fun of women again. Okay, because it's easy to make fun of men. You have everyone, even on the mainstream, your sports analysts. So Danica Patrick, she's a strong woman. Sorry to you men out there. Yeah, she's a tough cookie. She's better than all of you. Isn't that misandry? Isn't that hate towards men? But of course, it's totally fine to punch upwards. It's not fine to punch down. Totally acceptable to make fun of men, but it's not acceptable to make fun of women. And I think we should change that going forward. That's how we win the cultural war. If a professional athlete is able to, say X, Y, Z about pretty much any group, as long as it's constructive criticism. It doesn't have to be constructive criticism if it's just his or her genuine, authentic opinion. He or she should be allowed to say that without being cancelled. You should be free to talk about your opinions about women, how men built this country. You should be totally free to talk about how proud you are of your country, especially if you're white. Because I know, me being a black man, it is considered coonery saying what I just said about whites and nationalism and how they built our countries to be, first world developed countries. But I'm here to desensitize you of that because these are truths, these are objective facts. But that's all I have to say for now. If you've been watching this far, thank you so much for watching. And remember, the Matrix has you. Follow the white rabbit. Don't fall for the psyops. Donald Trump, just before I close, a lot can happen from now until his day of inauguration. And my goodness, Trump has to please stay indoors. You don't need to be flying out in rallies. And as a matter of fact, if I had to give Trump any advice, don't just stay indoors because, you know, they can bomb your house, and if you fly out to places, they can shoot down your airplane. If I had to advise Trump, my advice to Trump is to all these former enemies that you're now surrounded by. How about you remain close to them as much as possible? Stay close to J.D. Vance. Stay close to Tulsi Gabbard. Stay close to RFK. Stay close to who else? Any other, you know, your Tucker Carlsons, your former haters. Stay close to those people, because if they're gonna take you out, let us see if they feel comfortable taking you out along with them. Because now it's all about, I don't think, I mean, Alex Jones talked about how Trump needs to stay very close to J.D. Vance because it would seem legitimate if he was taken out or they tried to kill him along with J.D. Vance. That would seem legitimate. As opposed to him being by himself and them trying to take him out that way. I don't know, something along those lines. Yeah, Trump should stay close to these people and let's just see if they're really willing to kill their own. Because him being by himself is more vulnerable compared to being surrounded by J.D. Vance. He might have to move J.D. Vance in his house. Let's see if the Agent Smiths are going to take both of them out. But we'll see what pans out. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.